Good afternoon. We're here for the regularly scheduled Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment meeting on September the 21st of 2017. If you have not done so, we would like for you to fill out one of the cards showing that you're going to speak. It's not necessary that you have filled one out in order to speak. It's just a convenience for us if you would do so. Moving right along, the next item is to receive the minutes from the September the 7th, 2017 meeting. Is there any motions with respect to that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Would everyone please vote? All right, they are accepted. Okay, moving to the next item. Are there any requests by the staff regarding any continuances?
We have two continuances, item number 3, case number 14402, and item number 4, case number 14404. The applicants have requested to defer this to October 5th, 2017.
Does anyone wish to be heard on that issue? If not, then do we have a motion?
Make a motion to continue case number 14402 and 14404 to the October 5th, 2017.
Please cast your votes.
Second.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. All right. Both of those are continued. So let's move on to the next item on the docket, please.
We have item number 1, case number 14401, request for a variance to the maximum sign height and display area and to permit a sign located on the street right-of-way in the PUD 126A district located at 4317 Southwest 22nd Street.
Sir, if you will, give us your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Stuart Vandewille, Vandewiele. My address is 320 South Boston, Suite 200 in Tulsa, 74103. And I represent Case & Associates, who is the manager of this apartment project. Before I start, let me tell you, I sit on the Board of Adjustment in Tulsa, so I appreciate what you guys do. I know
Thank you very much.
It's a sacrifice that is not worth the zero pay. I assume if you guys don't get paid in Oklahoma City, do you? If you do, I'm moving down, and I'll put my name in. So what we're doing, basically, this is the replacement of an existing sign. There's a large flower bed planter with an existing tall, large sign in the planter. This sign is going to go back basically in that same area on a smaller footprint. The hardship here, this is a very odd shaped piece of property that Case's client just recently acquired in the last few months. It's compounded by the fact that on some maps it shows that the street access is a private drive. In some instances it shows it as a public thoroughfare. So depending on which of those is the case, we are either not in the street right-of-way or we are. We're not in the street right-of-way from Meridian. It's the 22nd street right-of-way that's at issue. So there's an extremely long private driveway that accesses the, do you have the survey, by the way? Yeah, so that, all the way down that street that you're seeing is property that's owned by the entity that owns this apartment complex. And without some sort of signage here on the street, you've got no visibility for anybody to know where this property is located. Up and down this street, you've got multiple commercial, light industrial type signs, certainly taller, bigger than what we're proposing, at about this same setback off of Meridian. So we certainly think that the property in and of itself poses a hardship to allow the signage. From the right-of-way aspect, we do have the sign off of the utility and the permit folks, subject only to the granting of the variance today.
Are there any questions of the applicant?
I have several.
Yes, ma'am.
You say it's on the same footprint. What exactly are the differences in the measurements of the two signs and the square footage? And why have you added these Case and Associates in addition to your Water's Edge, which is in the original sign?
Right. So on the second part of that, from the Case and Associates, any properties that they own or manage, they brand them as such from a marketing standpoint. The front edge, so that sits at a 45-degree angle, what you're looking at there. So the front corner of that property from a location standpoint is no closer to Meridian than, and I think you had a picture of the current state of affairs, is no closer to Meridian than the front corner of the planter that you see there. So it's, from a footprint standpoint, it's going down tremendously. And it's no taller than the existing sign you see here.
It's wider, though, correct? And it has what was the square footage of the proposed?
Of the sign?
Yes.
Well, let me look at my application. So from a height standpoint, 20-foot total, which is shorter than that. From an overall square footage on the sign, so the sign face itself is slightly larger than what you see, but frankly, I think that's a pretty ineffective sign that you're looking at there.
Now, you said this other sign you're going to place in a different location or
No, ma'am.
exactly the same?
So where you see the brick planter, it's in that footprint. So we're not coming any closer to the street than where we currently are. But it's going from, that footprint of that planter and the bulk of that sign is going to come down quite a bit.
I actually like your existing sign better.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions by anyone?
I'm going to support your application. One thing that I do like about the new sign is the address.
Yeah.
Not only the name of the property, but the address. And so many of us use map apps and things like that. And I think it just, it's another step toward making things easier to find.
And I do think that's part of the problem, like I said, that this street that you're looking down, in some instances is called Southwest 22nd, in some instances is called Water's Edge Drive. And I don't think that you can see the apartment complex really from anywhere driving up and down. They're certainly not at typical speed on Meridian.
The one thing I do see in the new sign in the rendering, it looks like, that the base is more exposed, and it looks like the planter that the existing sign in maybe has a higher wall. Is the elevation of the sign going to be from grade, or is it raised in the bed, or are they going to demo that entire bed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that entire bed will be demoed.
So the rendering will reflect the new reality
Yes, sir.
of the, okay,
Yeah.
so there'll be landscaping, but not as much to obscure the sign.
Correct.
If there are no objections, I will make.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the variance request.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Please cast your votes. You are approved, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 2, case number 14403, request for a variance to the 25-foot front yard setback and the 65-foot special setback, also the metal facade in the commercial portion of the Classen Boulevard overlay in the C4 General Commercial District and I-2 Moderate Industrial District, located at 1001 Northwest 6th Street.
Sir, would you mind giving us your name and address?
Hi, my name is Daniel Douthit. I'm with Gardner Architects, and I'm representing Northline Development today. Our address is 323 Northwest 9th Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73103.
Would you tell us about your application, please?
Sure. What we've got here is, do we have the rendering by any chance? It's the three-dimensional. Well, what we've got here is a bunch of shipping containers set out for micro retail and micro business and a restaurant with a rooftop deck. And if you look at Exhibit 2, nope. Well, Exhibit 2 shows all the existing buildings along Classen, both west and east, and on 6th and 7th having a 0 lot line setback. We feel that having to set the building back 25 feet severely limits what we can do with the site. It also makes parking far more difficult, just simply with that 25-foot setback. Did those make it in?
The staff report notes that buildings with little or no setback are very common in this area, so I don't think, what they're asking for is unprecedented.
I have a problem with the shipping container issues and all the metal. The metal, they say, asking for a variance not only on the setback, but for the metal requirements. And they say, well, but it's part of the integral portion of the container, and therefore it's necessary because it's part of it. I just have problems with these shipping containers being approved on this location with the metal, with the waiver on the materials issues. I just can't support that.
Any other questions of anyone?
You know what she's referring to?
Yeah, the metal panels, the sidewalls of the containers are load-bearing. We can't remove them. That's the way they come. Part of the charm of this design in the owner's eyes is seeing the shipping containers. That's the novelty of it. It's not a metal panel. It's a load-bearing wall. You have to kind of consider it like just a really long column that's corrugated. And here's Exhibit 2. Here's Exhibit 3. There's metal panels all up and down Classen already. The bottom image there is of the building directly next door on 6th. It has a metal panel above the canopy. So does the one just above it with a red metal panel. And then there's a brand new build on the east side of Classen there with all metal panel, corrugated, galvanized one there with the curtain wall windows above.
And I would just note, too, the configuration, these are going to be perpendicular to the street.
Yes, so what you're going to see mostly along 6th, they take the doors off the end of them, and it's just storefront, black anodized storefront with the door on it. So what you're going to see, the metal panel is at the tower element, and on 6th and 7th, where you have the long end of the panel, that's where the metal will be.
And we've approved these in other places. I don't think, not a project with as many in a single project, but I think, it's become a popular, use of those containers for building construction. Because of the location and because it's part of, an extension of the westward expansion out of downtown, and I think it's consistent with the other development down there, I'm going to support your application. I would just say to Diane, the purpose was to not have these big metal, corrugated metal structures around. I think, we've approved architectural metals, like on car dealerships and things like that. And even though this is not an architectural metal per se, it's integral to the container because it's load-bearing. So I'm going to support your application. Kevin can explain to you, the situation with only 3 members here and what your options are.
One, is there anyone from the public that wants to be heard on this? Okay. There are 4 members to the Board of Adjustment. There are only 3 here today, and so depending upon the vote, that could have an outcome. And so we like to fully inform everyone about that. Does municipal council have
So
something?
since there are only 3 members sitting today, and since any action of the board requires 3 members, they would all have to vote unanimously, or else your application is going to be continued to the next meeting.
Well, it doesn't sound like we have a unanimous vote on the metal panel, but do we have a unanimous vote on the setback, or can these issues not be separated?
Well, you can amend your application if you want to separate that. That's correct, isn't it?
But why would you? If I were you, I mean, if you want to request a continuance for your case to one of the October meetings and hope for a fuller board present,
Are you guys optimistic that we will have a 4 board in 30 more days?
well, we have one member, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm optimistic that we will have 4 people here
Okay.
for the October 6th meeting, 5th.
Well, let's request a continuance to October 20, what is it, 1st? 5th. Okay.
October 5th or October 19th?
Let's go for the 5th and hope we have 4 board members by then. If not, I'll request another continuance.
Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to continue case 14403 to the October 5th, 2017 meeting.
Second.
Please cast your votes. You are continued, sir. Are there any reports from staff? No, sir. Anything from the municipal councilor? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.